Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Mo Chuck channel. I'm Chuck, and if you want to support me, the best way to do that is by buying one of my ebooks. You will find a link to my author page at mmchuck.com. That's mmchuck.com. Uh, Flame by the Sea and the Suspense account, Flame by the Sea, two separate books packaged together. They're large books. Uh, the price on it's $8.99. That would go a long way to helping support me and my horses. Um, any book priced over 99 cents would actually go a good ways to help me. Warning, although the Suspense account of Flame by the Sea is not erotica, um, a lot of the books are there, and the books that are erotica, I don't focus on just one type of sex. I cover the gamut. So, maybe that's not the best way to write erotica, but if you have a plotted story and you're dealing with different characters with different proclivities, and a certain sexual fluid going on, that's what you have. Um, you take even the Sookie Stackhouse books, True Blood, whatever you want to call it, and the level of erotica there. Well, that was erotica. Um, and there again, it wasn't the characters were this or this or this. There was a mixture of characters. There was the gay characters. There was the straight characters. There was the good-looking women. There was the good-looking dudes. There was, But when you look at the way Amazon packages the erotica, you can kind of they tend to favor, and that's probably because of the ecosystem, not because of Amazon itself, but because of the ecosystem. Um, they focus, like either straight, gay, a fetish, a niche, um, and maybe that is a better way to do it. And I probably need to start writing under pen names and start focusing on those fetishes and niches, to be perfectly honest, because I really need to make money. And I probably need to start writing under pen names and to focus on, a certain type of erotica instead of having the gamut within one book. But I do like writing stories, I don't, and I like writing stories. So anyway, the topic today is the world a computer program? Is the world a computer program? Just about since the very beginning, when people started developing the computer technology, the idea occurred to people. And as they got to understand the quantum mechanics of the universe, the idea became even more pronounced in certain circles. Now, the people that openly voiced the ideas, they tended to be pushed down, like Edward Fredkin, Fredkin. He probably would have been taken more seriously if he had not, said that the Earth is the world, the universe is a computer program. And I think he went so far as, like Elon Musk, says that it's kind of like it was created to recreate like a legacy or an artifact of what once was the real world. Well, I tend to think that the world's always been computer-like. I think when the souls first came out of the void and there were intellectual energy forms, they were packets of energy. Exactly how they came out of the void, how they came into being, I don't have a clue. But I think the world they created was digital. It was computer-like. Because which would be easier to create, a digital computer-like world or a clay-based world? A clay-based world is fanciful, it's nice. It's a nice idea, this is all, it is what it is, believe in it. That at some point this was real. And it is real. I mean, everything you do has consequences. Everything you do has consequences. And I believe, in reincarnation. I believe that we have souls. I believe we live more than one life. I'm not sure I get into the this philosophy that the reason that we're here is to improve ourselves and to become better, 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 better. I'm not sure I'm totally comfortable with the concept of good and evil because the world itself contains enough that we might define as good and evil to question whether good and evil actually exist or it's just a man-made concept, a construct. Is it a construct of the computer-like world that we live in, or is it a construct that we create? Now, when I first was doing the Mandela effect, and I was postulating that the world's computer-like, and one I didn't go into high scientific theory. I basically went into uh, synchronicity and serendipity within the system because you can see it. You can kind of see the computer program at work if you look, and especially if you live in a rural area, which that's the reason rural areas tend to be more religious than, say, people in a city area. It doesn't have to do with morals. It has to do with the fact that if you're in a rural area, you're more likely to notice things because things are not blurred by so much activity, so much creation, so much activity. Things are slower in rural areas. You have time to sit on a log and look around and notice things. And one thing I first noticed when we moved to a rural area is the number of times that you would have 2, 3, 4 cars come to a four-way stop when there really wasn't that much traffic out there. The cars would come to a four-way stop at the same time. That's synchronicity in the system. There's a reason for it. Because within this system, even though it's digital and computer-like, there's rules that have to be followed. And part of those rules is if you can't just have a woman is not going to suddenly appear here in this room and I'm going to suddenly be able to make love to her and we're going to have children. That would be a lazy man's way, wouldn't it? Here, woman. There you exist. Pow, pow, pow. Oh, look, I got me a child. That's not the way the world works. But for a man to meet a woman, there's got to be synchronicity in the system, the computer, where the computer at some point will bring a woman from here, a man from here, and they will meet. And often it's like at a river, a crossroads. So it's built into the computer-like world that we live in because the computer needs men and women to meet. At the same time, the computer program likes excitement. It feeds off excitement. It wants excitement. It doesn't want to be a dull program. It wants souls to be attracted to this world. It wants souls to be attracted to this world. And for souls to be attracted to this world, there's got to be activity. There's got to be some reason you want to come here, something you want to do. No, it's not because you want to be a better person. You want excitement. You want to feel that woman in your arms or dude in your arms or whatever in your arms. You want to feel that. You want to feel that love, that passion. You want to feel that excitement. And at the same time, maybe you want to just beat somebody up, You want to prove you're the better, not necessarily the most moral, the person that takes the high road, the person that is so brilliant with your words, Maybe you just want to fight. And you want to prove that you can be the winner. You want to be the winner. Of course, most people are not the winner. Most people end up, roadkill on the side of the road, roadkill on the road of life. But still, the excitement. That excitement is what draws us into it. That sex is what draws us into it. The taste of food. Food is not just to nourish us and to keep us alive, although it plays that part, obviously. Food is enjoyment. Food is like sex. We want that good food. We want that good food. That's part of what brings us here. Now, you can postulate and theorize, okay, we're prisoners of this machine. We're prisoners of the computer-like program. We didn't come here willingly. We were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and we were forced here. We were imprisoned here. We don't have any choice but be here. And in that line of reason, you might think, okay, I've got to improve. I've got to be a better person. I want to get out of this prison. So, if that's the way the world is set up, then okay, maybe you do want to improve. But at the same time, this world is not a miserable place. It is not a prison-like place. It's a wonderful, beautiful place. got beautiful women, beautiful dudes, um, good food, and if you want to fight, you can find somebody to fight with, to argue with, to compete with. Compete with. Compete's probably the better word. Compete with. Now, when a lot of us started, going from the more simple way of thinking about the world, the more religious type way of thinking about the world. And I don't mean to insult you if you're religious. Don't. If I'm doing that, I apologize up front. To me, realizing that the world is computer-like, it kind of gave me proof that there is a God. Because they explained how God can operate, how God can actually tend to the needs of 7 billion people. Because to some degree, he is the machine. He is the computer. He may be able to project himself out into the world, but still he is the computer. And he's what draws his souls into the system. Is he making us prisoners of the system? Or do we just come here to have fun? The system is set up to have fun, enjoyment. And if you're not having fun and enjoyment, if you're just miserable, if this world is not providing what you want, you know the likelihood of what you're going to do. You're either going to willingly do it, or you're simply going to talk yourself into something that will take you out of this world. I mean, you don't have to. Well, that gets into a different subject. I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go there. So, Edward Fredkin, or Fredkin, Fredkin. He was one of the ones that began before Elon Musk and some of these other people, before Seth Lloyd. He was one of these that postulated that the world is a computer. And a lot of the people that started, developing and working and realizing things for computer technology, it wasn't a giant leap for them to look around and say, okay, wow, deja vu all over again. Wow. So they come up with these theories. So Edward Fredkin wrote A New Cosmogony. And the introduction starts, the greatest mystery is why is there anything at all? The mystery is tied to the great cosmogonical question. Wow. I'm really getting stupider by the day. Where did the universe come from? These questions raises one's curiosity about other things, such as, if the universe came from something or from somewhere, then where is that something or that somewhere, and what are things like there? How did that place come into being? And on and on. These are subjects that have been dealt with in mythology and religion. We presume to use science to look for plausible answers to these questions. If we assume that finite nature is true, we discover that surprising progress can be made in looking beyond our own world. Finite nature. And then he goes on. But I don't think I put in the graphics the name of this paper, but you can find it if you just research Edward Fredkin, and A New Cosmogony, and that's Cosmogony. Cosmogony. Stupider by the day, baby. Stupider by the day. But he was big on proving that the reason that the world can exist as computer-like is because the world is not infinite. The universes are not infinite. There actually is a finite number. And of course, that's one thing that some physicists do not really it's something they don't want to deal with. They would rather look at the world as infinite possibilities, infinite dreams, infinite activities, infinite women you can have sex with, infinite dudes you can have sex with. Infinite. Yeah, you do that, it's gonna rot off, baby. Yeah, there's a finite number before you get that awful disease. Uh, so anyway, it's good to look at these different people. You had Edward Fredkin, that's Fredkin, Conrad Zuse, it's Konradzuse. He was in the 1940s. He was a pioneer, and they very quickly come up with the idea. Yeah, we're in a computer-like world, baby. And then more modern terms, you got Seth Lloyd. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull Seth Lloyd up real quick. Da, 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 da. He's a professor of mechanical engineering and physics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He's written over 2,200, not 2,000, 200 scientific publications. Quantum computer reality is a video that's on YouTube under Long Now Foundation. Physics of free will. The gap between non-life and life. Actually, some of these look interesting. I may have to go back and look at them. So anyway, yeah, it's an interesting subject, and once you start realizing the world's computer-like, it kind of feeds into the Mandela effect theory. They try to say false memories, but of course we know it's not. I mean, some memories were mistaken. Obviously, we are how gossip can you. Did you see that red dress she was wearing? And by the time it gets over to Chuck over here, I think she's wearing a pink dress. So, we do hear things wrong sometimes. We get facts wrong. Sometimes the news media itself will report somebody dead when they're not dead. And then they very quickly, because no one wants to admit their errors, so they very quickly try to hide their errors. But still, the Mandela effect is, it's got to be more than just misinformation or wrong information that we received through the years. It's got to be that actually things are changing, and it can only change if the world is computer-like. That's the only way that things in this world could change, is if the world itself is computer-like. So when we start down that rabbit hole of the Mandela effect, we kind of come to the conclusion the world's computer-like. There's no way around it. So anyway, much thanks for watching and listening. I do appreciate it. Thank you.